everybody, it's me, Stella Wild, and I'm here with your weekly astrology tarot energy forecast for the week of August 27th to September 2nd. The way I'm going to do this is go through some general astrological aspects and talk about them, the things that are happening, and then I'm going to do a breakdown sign by sign for with tarot cards for how the Mars going direct energy is going to impact you. So stay tuned for that. But first I'm going to do just a general discussion. I am going to break it down sign by sign a little bit, but with the first big astrological news of this week, which is what's happening right this moment as I'm filming this video, the full moon in Pisces at 3 degrees. This has been a weekend of intense revelations, secrets being revealed, intuitions, dramas, and the feels, for sure. I myself, thankfully, have not had too much going on, but I have had people in my circle who have been going through a lot, and it's been very Piscean energy in terms of things being revealed but not being able to get a totally clear handle on it yet, in terms of what that energy means moving forward for people. So there's a lot of things being revealed that are causing emotional reactions, but what we do with that energy is still a little up in the air. And if you've been watching my September monthly tarot scopes, you know that that's been a theme for a lot of people that's been coming up in those readings. But one thing to think about too with this Pisces full moon is, because it's Pisces, it's the end of the zodiac, and Pisces is very associated with karmic endings. And that full moon is coming a month after we had the full moon eclipse that caused a lot of loss for people. It is possible that we get news related to that loss, or the loss actually happens at this full moon, or we are finally able to process that loss now. There could have been a delayed reaction. Maybe we were so numb from the shock of whatever happened at the end of July that we weren't able to really feel into it until this Pisces full moon. Let's see what else. I have some notes here. So the other thing about this full moon as well, because it's Pisces, as I said, it's can be things connected to losses of a karmic nature, but it also brings closure. It brings endings to an old part of your life that no longer serves you. And that is especially relevant and on point because tomorrow we have Mars going direct. And so whatever is coming to an end for us at this Piscean full moon, it's the result of the eclipses, yes. It's also the result of all of us having a major rethink, reboot, and upgrade to our lives over the last couple of months. And we'll see that upgrade manifest and bring benefits to our lives as Mars continues to get up to speed and moves direct and gets out of its shadow period and goes forward into Aquarius. And we are able to, once that happens, when Mars goes direct, we'll be able to enact the changes that have occurred inside of us emotionally. The Piscean full moon is sort of putting an emotional exclamation point at the end of this summer of retrogrades. It's like, yes, it's over. Wow. Wow. It really is done. I am moving on from this situation. And I'm moving on in a better way. It was difficult to look at some of the things I had to look at, but wow, I am moving on in a better way. I hear a lot of people are saying that. And the Mars going direct in Capricorn at this exalted 28-degree mark is a very, very powerful energy, very powerful time to set an intention for how you want to move forward these next couple of months. So what I would like to do now is pull some cards for you all and get into this Mars going direct energy and what that means for you. So Mars retrograde that we had was really about this reassessment and how we were directing our power and energy, and where were there leaks in our energy that really shouldn't have been there, that we needed to plug up, that we needed to reassess and see if we could fix that somehow. Is that how we really wanted to spend our energy and our powers? So we had this big reassessment period, and this Pisces full moon, as I said, makes us see, wow, exclamation point. I made it through that. I had the courage to face all that stuff and figure out what I need to do for myself so that I can move forward powerfully and passionately into what I really want to create. So let's pull a few cards. Let's do some Osho Zen cards and see. We're going to break it down sign by sign and see what did you learn and how are you going to apply it. So we're going to pull 2 cards for each sign. What did you learn from the Mars retrograde, and how are you going to apply it going forward? Okay, so we're going to start with Capricorn, actually, because Mars is going direct first in Capricorn. So let's start with Capricorn. I know we usually start with Aries, but we're going to do a little different this time. We're going to start with Capricorn. So for Capricorn, Mars is going direct in your first house of the self, of very personal hopes, wishes, and dreams. It's really about your personal success and what you want to create. So, what did you learn, Capricorn? And how are you going to apply it? All right, great. So Capricorn, you learned with Mars retrograde in your first house, you learned that you had to let go of clinging to the past. That these outmoded ideas of how you were seeing yourself really had to go. They had to go. No longer needed. And how you're going to apply that, how you're going to apply having understood how you were clinging to past definitions of yourself that weren't even created by you, that were probably things you just bought into that parents and teachers and friends and lovers had said to you. But you let it go. And as a result, you are going to be able to take a great leap forward. And you are going to be able to trust in the process of that leaping forward. You will be much better at taking risks and more equipped to take risks because you understand much more of who you are now and your own worth, your own value. And you'll be able to take those risks. Look, these people are flying on the trapeze, and let go and not only trust the universe, but trust yourself, and other people will be there to catch you, the right people. Because you were clinging to the past of these people who really didn't belong in your life anymore. And because those relationships were formed based on old definitions of who you thought you were. And now you've let those go. So you're going to move forward with a lot of grace and ease and risk-taking that's going to bring you a lot more benefit to your life. Okay, now we're going to go to Aquarius. So for you, Aquarius, Mars is going direct in your 12th house of the subconscious, of the things that are unseen that can affect us. It can be institutions, feeling like we're in a prison. All right, so what did you learn, Aquarius, from Mars being retrograde in your 12th house? Okay, so Aquarius, you learned that the best way to deal with this Mars retrograde energy was to just take it day by day, moment to moment, and not get too caught up in the kind of monkey mind situations that would have you trapped in a prison of what if? Well, what if this happened? What if that happened? All that future thinking. That staying grounded in the present moment, moment to moment, was the way that you understood is the best way to deal with any fears that were coming up from your subconscious. And you were, you were reevaluating how you let yourself, Aquarius, get caught up in this future thinking and drive yourself crazy as a result. Drive yourself into anxiety instead of staying in the moment to moment. And how you will apply it is you will become the magician of your own fate. You have learned a deeply spiritual lesson, Aquarius, with this Mars retrograde. You have really learned to not be afraid of things that come up from your subconscious, because you know that the way to master them, which is the Master card here, is not to run away from them or dismiss them or ignore them, but to simply acknowledge their presence as they come up, much as people do in meditation. You notice the thoughts that come up, and you just let them go. You witness them and you let them go. And that is really about being in that moment to moment. And so any of those subconscious fears, you now understand going forward. You understand that to be the master of your fate, you cannot allow your subconscious, your fears, your anxieties to control the show and drive you into thinking about things that haven't even happened yet, and thus you get thrown off the rails and you don't get anything done. So going forward, you are the Zen master of being in the moment. All right, Pisces. You have Mars going direct in your 11th house of hopes and wishes and dreams and friendships. So what did you learn with Mars retrograde, Pisces? What did you learn, Pisces? All right. So Pisces, you learned a new definition of courage when it comes to friendships and when it comes to how dedicated you are to fulfilling your hopes, wishes, and dreams. A dream that you may have had on the back burner has sprung like a very determined flower back out of the concrete. You reevaluated and realized that there was one dream in particular that you absolutely do want to fulfill. You maybe were ignoring it. You perhaps weren't seeing its potential, or you were seeing that it was going to be very hard work because of this concrete that's here. And you were really doubting if that dream was going to be able to find its way forward into the light from this very difficult situation. But you nurtured it. You nurtured it and had the courage to nurture it, even though it got a very difficult start. But the Mars retrograde allowed you to go deep and into that courage so that you could bring that forth and rededicate yourself to some sort of wish and dream that was very, very important to you. And oh God, I love when this happens. I just said dream because we have the dream here. I just pulled this out. I'm not looking at the cards. I just pulled it out. So how you're going to apply this going forward is you are much better equipped now at seeing the nurturing possibility of the right dream, because and having the courage to continue to pursue the right dream that you stayed committed to coming out of the flower coming out of the concrete. So sometimes Pisces, because they're so imaginative, they have so many dreams, they have so many fantasies and ideas, and it's hard to get them to ground and actually create something. We have this beautiful Saturn, Uranus and Sun trine that's still going on, this grand Earth trine energy. So this is a great time with this Mars going direct to ground things in a reality. And you, Pisces, have understood and will continue to understand after this Mars retrograde period that your dreams are worth pursuing. But sometimes it's very helpful to make sure that you are choosing wisely and choosing with courage, that even though it may look difficult, the fantasy shouldn't be immediately dismissed just because it may look a little difficult. The dream shouldn't be immediately dismissed. All right? Okay. Okay, so let's see. Aries, you have Mars going direct in your 10th house of career. Let's see what is going to be going on for you. What did you learn from the Mars retrograde? Aries, 10th house. All right, so the Mars retrograde for you, Aries, being ruled by Mars, naturally, you're going to feel Mars retrograde very strongly. You learned that there are some situations in your public life, in your career life, that you simply have to walk away from. They've had their day. And actually, I think this came up in your monthly reading as well for September. So you know that after this reevaluation period of Mars retrograde, that your energy must be directed in passion projects at work that feed you emotionally. Because this card is also the Eight of Cups in regular tarot. So you realize that if your heart's not in it, you're not going to win it. That was really cheesy. Okay, but you know what I'm saying. If you want to be successful at your job, your heart and your emotions have to also be invested in it. And you realize that. You are just forging ahead, as Aries do. Just forging ahead, plowing on in, or just get out of my way. And you realize that if you really wanted to make yourself happy in your career, something's got to give. Either you have to let go of that expectation of having that happen, which I don't think you really want to do, or you have to let go of that job. And because that September reading was all about Aries wanting to get out of a job. So this is, okay, so this is echoing that. All right, so let's see. For your 10th house, Aries career, and how are you going to apply this as Mars goes direct? Okay, so consciousness. So not allowing those feelings to get buried and staying conscious of what you deserve in a job, that your awareness, now that you're aware of this, of that you really want to have an emotional connection to your work again, doing something that you feel passionate about. You can't let that awareness just go by the wayside now. You can't ignore it. So I would also say that moving forward, to stay connected with that feeling, to really go within, and I think going forward, you've learned from this Mars retrograde that you need to take a regular time out. I'm not saying necessarily through meditation or something, but just because Aries is always just at full speed all the time. And it's hard to get them to slow down. But you, I think, have realized that you do need to slow down. You need a little downtime to really stay conscious about your own happiness. Being conscious about your own happiness, and that sometimes things have got to be let go, that you can't just blindly keep forging ahead. This retrograde, I'm sure this Mars retrograde frustrated you to no end. But I think it was to show you that, or to ask you, how badly do you really want to move forward? Are you willing to let go of these situations in your work life, these jobs, these associations, these projects that are not emotionally fulfilling? And really owning the conscious awareness of that, and not just stuffing it down in staying busy and thinking it will go away. You realized with all this frustration from the job, the last 6-8 weeks with this retrograde, that you can't just stuff things down anymore. You've got to let this go. Okay, let's see. So we did my Aries. All right, Taurus, 9th house. Mars goes direct in your 9th house. What did you learn from the Mars retrograde? Taurus, Mars retrograde. So your 9th house of legalities, publishing, higher learning, spirituality. All right, what did Taurus learn from the Mars retrograde? Mars retrograde. Oh my God, I just got this. I shuffled. Just got the same thing. So letting go again. So you had to let go of outmoded ideas that aren't serving you anymore. That you've been limiting your options, your point of view has been very limited, Taurus. Your landscape, your day-to-day mind, cultural, spiritual expansion has been limited during the retrograde. And you realize that you need to let go of this very narrow focus that you have in those areas, that you want expansion. Also, because the 9th house does rule the legal system, legalities, justice, law, it's possible that with the Mars retrograde you had to actually relinquish something, let go of something in a court of law as well. This could have been a divorce that was finally happened, a lawsuit, a judgment that came forth, and you had to finally let go of the outcome of that. Maybe you were hoping for a different outcome, but you had to finally just let go emotionally and accept what that outcome was. All right, and how are you going to apply this, Taurus? Now that Mars is going direct. All right, participation, 4 of Wands. So, because you have realized that your view has been limited, that you realize that there's so much more of the world you want to see, cultural activities you want to get involved in. You may even want to go back to school, things of that nature. You will go and do that. You're going to have, Taurus, a much more expansive, participatory involvement with, as I said, spiritual matters. You could get involved in a spiritual group, an educational group, a hobby group, a religious group, a travel group. So stuff like that. You will be definitely expanding more into areas of things that I just mentioned, because you realized in some way you've been really limiting yourself in those things. Okay, Gemini, Mars is going direct in your 8th house of psychology, sexual matters, other people's money. So what did you learn, Gemini, from the Mars retrograde? What did you learn from the Mars retrograde? Okay, so you learned that it is okay to be happy. It is okay. You don't have to feel guilty if you're happy. I think it's also possible that you were rethinking the ways in which you want to celebrate and be happy in the world. So you see in this card, this is the 3 of Cups card in normal tarot. These women are dancing in the rain. It's beautiful. I think since it's the 8th house for you, you could have even been reevaluating what makes you happy in a financial way, in a sexual way, in a psychological way, any of those things. So you could have had a rethink about that. All right, and how are you going to apply it? How are you going to move forward with this energy? So really reassessing, how often do we really stop and think, are we happy? Just like are we basically happy? Are we satisfied with our love lives? Are we satisfied with how we're developing and growing? Are we satisfied with our bank accounts? Of course, 8th house is other people's money, but are we satisfied with the money our partner or our spouse is bringing in? That's another possibility. Are we happy with those things? All right, Gemini, what did you do for going forward? Okay, so this is very interesting energy. So we had, what you were reevaluating, Gemini, was your happiness level. And then we get the aloneness card. We get the Hermit card as the energy going forward. So perhaps you came to a realization and an understanding, Gemini, that your happiness is really up to you alone. You could be involved with all sorts of different things and different people and celebrating and partying and, whatever. You could have a spouse that brings in a lot of money. You could have a really great sex life or not, or whatever it is. But ultimately, going forward, I think this Mars retrograde has taught you that you alone are responsible for your happiness. Okay. Gemini, we did you. All right, Cancer. Mars is going direct in your 7th house of relationships, business partnerships, and enemies. People forget 7th houses also can be enemies. All right. So, Cancer, what did you come to understand from this Mars retrograde and how? All right. All right, Cancer. From this Mars retrograde in your 7th house, you understand about how, or you reevaluated how you do matter. Your existence matters in relationships. This is the existence card. This is really beautiful. Look, this girl is, or man, it's a, we don't know what kind of figure it is, staring up at these beautiful stars. It's the Magician. So I think sometimes for Cancers, they can be so loving and so giving and so self-sacrificing in certain relationships that they forget they exist in the relationship. They matter too. And I think this Mars retrograde had you rethinking that issue within your relationships. Not that every relationship has to be 50-50. That's very utilitarian. And how do you even measure that? But the idea that you matter in the relationship, that your existence brings something very crucial to all the relationships that you're involved in. And I think reevaluating your own contributions to those relationships and recognizing and rethinking about what you bring to the table and what you have to offer and what you deserve. All right, let's see what else. Oh, I'll leave that one out. Okay. So how will you move forward with that energy, Cancer? How will you move forward with that energy? Mars going direct. Same thing that Pisces got. So courage. So to me, this means that you are going to have the strength to make some changes in your relationships going forward with this Mars direct, that you will come from a place of love, but also for standing up for yourself. Notice that there are flowers in both of these cards. You want to create something beautiful in relationships, Cancer. Not something based in codependency, but something based in loving mutuality. That you are not the only one contributing to the beauty in the relationship. And you will have the courage moving forward to make sure that you get involved in situations that are more equitable, that are more fair to you, that that support you and support your own beauty, but not like suck it all out of you either. That there's an ebb and flow, a give and take of the other person's energy, your energy, and that you will stand up for that for yourself. You want to create beauty in a relationship, a loving union, and you are willing to step up for that and to not lose yourself any longer in relationships. All right, Leo, 6th house, Mars going direct in your house of health and jobs and pets. All right, let's see, Leo, 6th house. What did you learn from this Mars retrograde? Gosh, some of the similar cards are coming up, and I am shuffling. You can hear me shuffle. So, Leo, you learned that the Mars retrograde brought home this idea that you must focus on yourself. Now, that may seem like a very strange thing to say to a Leo, because Leos are pretty good at focusing on themselves. Just saying. But focusing on yourself in a healthy way and to take care of you are the only one who can take care of yourself health-wise. Leos really sometimes have this idea of being invincible, that nothing bad is ever going to happen to them because they're Leos. They rule the world. They're the kings and queens of astrology, right? They rule the world, Leos. So they think that they're invincible. And I think it's very possible that this Mars retrograde brought up some sort of health issue for you that made you realize that, yeah, oops, that's really not the case, is it? I guess I'm not invincible. I have a physical body I need to take care of, and not just so I can look good, like not go to the gym just to look good and have muscles and be cute, but oh, yeah, I guess I really need to think about my diet. And yeah, because you can go to the gym and exercise all you want, but if you're still drinking beer and stuffing Doritos down your face, like you're still gonna health-wise, that's not a great choice. So I think that it's very probable that this Mars retrograde in your 6th house of health has made you realize that you are the only one, Leo, who can take care of yourself ultimately. Like no one else is forcing Doritos down your mouth. You're the one putting the Doritos down your mouth. So I don't know why I said Doritos, but donuts, whatever it is. So I think that you realized, and I think there was a health issue that cropped up, and you realized, yeah, I really, it's on me. I got to get it together. I'm not invincible. All right, and how are you going to move forward with this Mars going direct in your 6th house? All right, good. So this is the Empress card, but we're going to look at the word creativity here. So the Empress card. So really, the Empress card to me is about nurturing. I mean, it's about a lot of different things, but I think in this context of what we're looking at with health issues, I think really looking at your diet and looking at how you are effectively nurturing yourself. I was just checking to see if there's any fruits and vegetables in this this card. There aren't, but you realize, Leo, that it's on you to take a closer and better look at how you can be in charge of your health and your diet. And you will take some creative approaches and nurturing approaches. Eating better foods, maybe taking a cooking class of learning how to make healthy foods, going back to look at vitamins and supplements and things of that nature. So you are going to have a much more, with Mars going direct, a much more empathetic, nurturing, mothering energy toward yourself. Because you've realized that it's on you. These bad habits are on you. Only you can change them, and you will. All right, Virgo. Mars is going direct in your 5th house of children, love affairs, and creativity. So let's see. What did you learn during the Mars retrograde, Virgo? Virgo, Mars retrograde. What did you learn? Virgo, you learned to let go of guilt, or you learned how stuck in guilt you were, because this is the Eight of Swords in regular tarot. So perhaps there was some love affair that ended badly and you were feeling guilty about it. Perhaps there was some situation involving your children that you've been feeling guilty about. Perhaps you've been beating yourself up over not doing a creative project that you wanted to do. So the Mars retrograde made you really look at, rethink your feelings of feeling less than and feeling guilty about how you handled one of those situations. All right, let's see. And moving forward, Virgo, how are you going to incorporate this lesson when Mars goes direct? All right, let's see. Wow, some of the same cards are coming out. Very interesting. All right, participation. So, and this is Four of Wands normally in regular tarot. You are going to get back out there. If there was a love relationship that ended that you still feel kind of bad about, you're going to let it go. You're going to let that guilt go. And the way it's going to get let go is you're just going to get back out there in the dating world. If there was a situation involving your children that you felt you didn't handle well and you feel bad about it, I think what you'll do is you'll end up doing some sort of activity with them. Maybe you'll travel with them, or if they're still young, maybe you just spend a lot more time with them. I don't know, doing a father-daughter thing, a mother-daughter thing, mother-son, whatever the case may be. Something like that. A creative project. If there was one that you were kind of beating yourself up over, oh, why didn't I do that? Or there was some sort of lucky opportunity you did not take advantage of, and it passed you by and then you feel bad, you will get back out there and take advantage of and look for new opportunities to be creative and to take some creative risks. So this is a very nice card. Very good. In other words, you're going to take actual physical actions, I believe, to let that guilt go. So like I said, actually like registering on a dating app and going back out there and going on dates to get rid of that, to make sure that guilt doesn't come back. Actually doing activities with your children, actually doing a creative project, and those actions will dissipate any lingering guilt but you realize, the Mars retrograde helped you realize, Virgo, that guilt was really misplaced. You did not need to be feeling that for that long. So, all right, Libra, 4th house. Mars going direct in your 4th house. Libra, what did you learn? All right, Judgment card. Beyond illusion. This is Judgment. All right, so at some level, Libra, the Mars retrograde made sure that you saw everything with clear eyes, that you had to separate fact from fiction, lies from truth, intention from reality, in regards to your home situation, in regards to past family issues, the roots. This could be involving, even though this is not the 7th house, it's still the 4th house of home. If you're living with somebody, if you're married, this can involve your partner. A family situation could have come up. And during this Mars retrograde, new information was revealed that forced you to really look at this situation clearly, but also with your intuition, with that third eye. You see how this third eye is opened here. So what you were probably already intuitively sensing, Libra, you got the confirmation of that with the Mars retrograde. You got concrete information that made concrete what you were suspecting intuitively. Ultimately, what you want to do is transform this situation. You see there's a butterfly, there's wings here in this card. And butterflies are classic symbols of transformation. So this information, this clarity, this new clear thinking that the Mars retrograde brought you in rethinking, reevaluating this family situation is ultimately to heal it and transform it. All right, how will you move forward with this Mars retrograde energy? Libra moving forward, Mars retrograde energy. Wow, and I'm shuffling. Some of the same cards keep coming up. Moment to moment. So moving forward, you are taking this situation day by day. You are looking at this family situation and staying in the present moment, not catastrophizing it, not going, oh my God, what if this happens, that happens? Not turning it into a big drama. You are taking it day by day, and you are also maintaining your own balance. You see this guy, and since you're the Libra scales, I have to say this. You see the guy is maintaining, or the woman, whatever, maintaining balance as they move from one step to the next. So I think you also have understood to trust your intuitive hits as well through this Mars retrograde, because like I said before, what you had with this other card, you really sensed things. Your crown chakra, definitely your third eye, you knew certain things, and then you got the concrete information that confirmed it for you. So I think moving forward, you'll be able to stay in the moment to moment because you'll keep tuning into that intuition, and you'll know what the next right step is with this family situation. Yeah, so this family situation is probably still going to play out for a while because you have Pluto in your fourth house as well. But for now, with Mars, you can at least get a handle on the current revelations, the things that came to light in the last 6 weeks of the retrograde, and at least be able to move forward with that situation. But you have ongoing issues with the foundation of your life, Libra. The foundation, the home, the family, because Pluto's in your fourth house. So, and Pluto will be there for, a couple more years. But at least for now, you can move forward with one situation. All right, Scorpio, third house. Mars going direct, Scorpio, in your third house of communication, networking, siblings, marketing, publishing, blogging. All right, let's see. Scorpio, what did you learn from Scorpio? What did you learn from the Mars retrograde? Okay, so you got the isolation card, which is the Three of Swords, and it's a 3, and it's the third house we're talking about. So I would say you were rethinking with the Mars retrograde some sort of situation, Scorpio, that some sort of communication that wounded you. This could have been a communication from a sibling, because the third house does rule siblings, but it doesn't have to be. It could be that you were the recipient of a very cruel communication, an email, text, something like that during the Mars retrograde, and it broke your heart. This is the Three of Swords. I'm going to zoom this in so you can see this card. It broke your heart to the point. What's interesting about this card, the way Osho describes it, it breaks your heart to the point that even your tears, you're almost frozen in hurt, frozen, like numb and frozen in hurt, and even your tears haven't been able to melt that ice yet. Eventually you will. The tears will melt the ice, but you'd have to cry a lot to melt all that ice around you. So I feel the Mars retrograde, if you didn't get the message while Mars was going retrograde, the message that wounded you, that really hurt your feelings and caused you to isolate yourself, then you were replaying or rethinking a message from the past that did that for you, that you're still stuck in, maybe, that you really need to process and let go of. All right, Scorpio, how will you move forward with this? Mars going direct in your third house. This can also be that a third-party situation came to light as well. But I feel it's more because it's a third-party situation and you found out about it. That was the communication that wounded you. So that's another possibility. How was Scorpio going to move forward with this Mars going direct in their third house? All right, so we got this, some of the same cards keep coming up, clinging to the past. So going forward, you still have to address, Scorpio, how you're keeping yourself stuck inside this box of old love letters, old photographs, old memories that you are clinging to, that are really keeping you stuck in this isolation, that you can't see your way forward. Look, you can't see this person's face. They've got this box of junk, the box of love letters and photographs and crap in front of their face. They can't see their way forward because they're clinging to the past. So Scorpio, as Mars goes direct, it's time to throw out that box. It's time to let it go. I know, Scorpio. I know you have a hard time letting go, but use the power of Mars going direct in that third house to finally let that stuff go. Let it go. You can't heal from it until you let it go. If it's still around, it's still going to be energetically dragging you down. All right, Sagittarius, and we got to wrap this up. Sagittarius, Mars is going direct in your second house of earnings, money, possessions, and self-worth. Sagittarius, what did you learn from Mars retrograde? All right, Sagittarius, you learned when Mars went retrograde that you really need to step into your creative power, and you have the capacity to manifest anything that you want. Look at this card. Look at the solar plexus chakra here of this individual, this Buddha. Solar plexus represents your will, your powers of manifestation. Look at how bright and shining and open this is. So I think, in this card, I think that you, Sagittarius, the last 6 weeks with Mars retrograde, were really reevaluating what you've manifested, how you manifested it, and how can you be a more powerful manifester, that you do have the power. And I think you probably had a situation that you were able to manifest something, even though we had all this crazy retrograde energy. And it got you excited, and it got you thinking, wow, I can do this. I am in charge of creating my reality. So I think you had a big rethink about your own power. And you saw very concretely that there is so much more inside of you, and you just have not even really tapped that potential yet. So going forward, Sagittarius, how will you put this energy into play? How are you going to apply it? Sagittarius. Wow. And I shuffled. You heard me shuffle. Letting go. So, you now understand that what's important, Sagittarius, is what you want. What you want, your solar plexus, your will, what you want to create is what's important. So going forward, you're letting go of all the expectations and things that were put on you by other people telling you you should want these things. And you're like, well, should I? I don't know. Oh, all right. Okay. But meanwhile, no, wait, I want these other things. So you're going to let go. You're going to let go of other people's expectations. You're going to walk away from a lot of, you may even also, I'm getting this, it's coming in, that you are going to purge a lot of stuff that is not you and does not reflect what you want to manifest. That never was what you had willed in your life. What you really wanted was what other people, what other people had put on you. I'm talking about like furniture and clothing and things like that. Like maybe you decorated in a certain way because your partner wanted it, but it wasn't really your style. Or you went shopping with a relative like your mom or your dad and they suggested certain things and you just listened to them, but that's not what you really wanted. And you bought certain clothes thinking they would be pleasing to other people, but it wasn't what you really wanted. So I think you are going to let go and actually have a physical declutter now that Mars is going to be going direct. You're going to get, Mars is going direct in your second house of possessions. I think you're going to do a purge and donate and get rid of a lot of stuff that does not suit you, fit you, and it's not reflective of your will and what you want to manifest and who you are. Okay, wow, lots of interesting messages. You know, some of it comes through a little channeled, as you saw, so thank you for your patience. Sometimes, you know, to articulate these things, it comes in so fast that I have to try to sometimes catch up to my own intuition. So I wish you a great week ahead. I think it's fabulous that we're finally moving into energy that we can really get behind and start manifesting stuff with. But you know, it's great. We need retrograde periods to reassess. We're having another retrograde that's coming up soon, Venus retrograde. I'll be doing more videos and writing about that on my blog some more, so stay tuned. Meanwhile, remember my Virgo birthday reading is still available. I'll put the link in the description. And as always, this is just general readings. If you need a private reading, please book one with me. I'd be happy to work with you. I'll put the link in the description. Everybody have a great week. Wish you all the best. Stella Wild.